When it comes to the topic of prayer, I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with it, and I think a lot of people could use a perspective that Jesus has given me when it comes to how to pray. And it's really, really beautiful. When it comes to the Lord's Prayer, I'm going to be giving that to you today, and just talking a little bit about what I think Jesus is telling us here in context. I also want to say that before I met Jesus, I used all sorts of modalities for my prayer life. You could say I was praying to all sorts of things. This included spirit guides, this included nature spirits, this included ancestor spirits, this included divination, tarot cards, and even mantras, even mudras. So I was doing all sorts of different types of praying before I met Jesus. So Jesus is going to teach you how to pray in the Lord's Prayer when I read it here. But I'm not telling you how to pray. So I'm starting at verse 5, chapter 6, verse 5 of Matthew. Jesus says, "When you pray, you are not to be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and on the street corners so that they will be seen by people. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. But as for you, when you pray, go into your inner room, close your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you are praying, do not use thoughtless repetition as the Gentiles do, for they think they will be heard because of their many words." So pagans would just use repetition, basically. The Gentiles would use repetition, thinking that they were going to be heard by their gods. All right, verse 8. "So do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him." I want to point something out just in the preceding verses to the Lord's Prayer. Jesus is clearly showing us that prayer is not repeating, and it's not a showing off in order to get God's attention, and it's not intended to get the attention of people either. He's saying, go pray to your Father in your inner room, close your door, and pray to your Father in secret. He wants it to be intimate. He wants it to be between you and God. He wants it to be a relationship here. You see that? One of my favorite men on YouTube who was sharing with people the truth of Jesus, Cliff Knechtel, he says it this way: prayer is not an experiment in what can I get from God. Prayer is an experiment in getting to know God and forming that relationship with him. I like it put that way. That makes a lot of sense to me. Just how in human relationships, a relationship is not going to thrive if I'm just constantly seeking what I can get from another person. A relationship's going to thrive if I truly want to get to know another person and they're willing to reveal themselves and get to know me. God already knows me, and he's definitely willing to reveal himself as he showed in the life of Jesus Christ. This is also Jesus talking now. He's saying how we pray here. This is the Lord's Prayer. Verse 9, chapter 6, verse 9. "Pray then in this way: Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name." Hallowed means like great or revered. We should respect God. He's also, when it comes to the word Father, he would have used the word Abba in Aramaic, one of the languages that he spoke. Abba, a lot of people believe, is just the word used for daddy, or a young child referring to his dad, but it can also be used by adults referring to their dads as well. So there is both a personable relationship with the Father and a certain amount of respect that we have to show, or should be shown, I think. Hallowed be your name. "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." This is pointing to, Jesus is, I think, pointing to, we should truly desire for the Father's will to be done. It's all about knowing who God is, knowing that he is good, knowing the plan that he has, which is good for this earth. He goes on in verse 11, "Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I think partly what God is doing here, besides just telling us that we can ask for protection and we can ask to be fed, we can ask God for the things that we want and the things that we need. Give us this day our daily bread is still very humble, though. We shouldn't ask for too much and expect too much from God, at least beyond what he's already done, because we can expect for him to save us and bring us to heaven, and I'd say that's pretty good if you ask me. On top of the assurance that we can ask when we are praying to God about it, when we are asking him for these things, and then we receive protection, we receive our daily bread, we can thank him for it on top of that. So I think that's very important to understand too. God is looking out for our mental health, and he's also teaching us how we can, have that assurance better. We can remind ourselves of that in our prayer with him. We can talk to him about it. It's important that we know God personally, and I think the best way to know God personally is to look at the life of Jesus Christ, who was God in human flesh, God revealing himself to humanity on our level, basically. And he also saved all of humanity on top of that. Thank you for watching this video. Go read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the historical biographies of the life of Jesus Christ, who I consider my best friend for the past 6 years. And I hope this video helps you feel more comfortable praying. Stay blessed, everyone.